You know, it's kind of funny sometimes the things people do. Like, imagine buying a staircase for a lot of money.
Okay.
A staircase that literally goes nowhere. It sounds, well, pointless, right?
Completely useless, yeah. Like a piece of art, maybe?
Sort of, but here's the twist. This staircase, it became this focal point. Hundreds of people actually went there
Went to the staircase. Why?
to take the first step. They'd step onto it and actually say their dream out loud.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So a symbolic gesture became really powerful for them.
Exactly. That physical object, kind of worthless on its own, turned into this potent symbol of, like, intention.
Yeah, that act of just saying it, vocalizing the dream right there. It highlights something crucial, doesn't it? The power of just starting, even if the first action feels small or symbolic.
Okay, so let's really dive into that. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into the whole idea of dreams, what they mean, how you actually chase them, and maybe even make them real.
And we're drawing on Simon Squibb's book, What's Your Dream?
Right. Simon's got this background as an entrepreneur, quite a journey, and now he's really focused on helping other people unlock their dreams.
And his own experiences, in the thick of it, probably give him a pretty grounded take on what it actually takes, the mindset, the practical steps, moving from just wishing to actually, well, doing.
Totally. So our mission today really is to pull out the key insights from his book, the stuff that can genuinely help you understand your own goals, figure out how to pursue them, and hopefully achieve them. We want to cut through some of the usual noise.
Offer some practical ways of thinking about it all, and maybe tackle those first hurdles, right? What stops us even starting. That staircase story, it's a great illustration of just breaking that initial inertia.
Absolutely. That staircase only got its meaning because people took that step, because they declared their dream. It's almost like making a promise out loud.
It's surprisingly powerful, isn't it? Just saying it takes it from being this fuzzy idea in your head and makes it, well, real,
Yeah,
external.
gives it form.
Yeah, and maybe even adds a little bit of accountability, even if you're just telling a staircase. Makes the dream feel more tangible somehow.
Now, one thing that really jumped out at me from the book is how Simon challenges that classic idea, that pure hard work is the only way to succeed.
Oh yeah, we hear that constantly, don't we? Just put your head down and grind.
Right. Just put in the hours.
But he brings a lot of nuance to it. He's not saying effort isn't important, obviously, but is it the only thing? He argues no.
He shares examples, right?
Yeah.
Like getting his best ideas when he was actually taking time off.
Exactly. Or seeing profits go up when he started delegating more. It suggests that just raw hours aren't the key. It's about effectiveness, strategy, working smart.
It makes you think, is it about the sheer volume of hours or the actual impact you're having in those hours?
That's the core of it. And he's seen people burn out, right? Just grind themselves into the ground on projects that didn't even work out in the end.
Yeah, he mentions that entrepreneurs hitting total burnout. It really highlights how often we mix up being busy with actually making progress.
Mm-hmm. Believing hard work alone is the magic bullet can lead to exhaustion, neglecting innovation, rest, everything else.
So his focus is more on working smart
Mm-hmm.
and maybe doing something you actually care about.
Right. That passion element, it makes the effort feel different, more sustainable, less like a, relentless slog.
Okay, but what about when things don't go to plan, when stuff goes sideways? Let's talk about failure, the F word.
Yeah, something we're all basically programmed to avoid, right?
Totally. But Simon kind of reframes it, doesn't he?
He really does. It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it as this disaster, this endpoint, he frames failure as, well, an instructor, an invaluable teacher.
Like that chef example. The one who had a massive failure but learned so much and came back stronger.
Exactly that. Failure gives you data you just can't get any other way. It's like rapid learning, painful maybe, but learning nonetheless.
He even talks about his own experience, right, with Devishard. Cost him a lot, but he called it a rewarding failure.
Yeah, because of what he learned. And apparently it helped him dodge a really bad partnership later on. So the failure actually had this unexpected upside.
So the takeaway isn't just failure is bad. It's more like it gives you insights, makes you better prepared next time.
Precisely. You become more attuned to risks, less blindsided by the unexpected. It's like getting a practical education, the hard way sometimes, but still valuable.
So trying to avoid failure completely is probably unrealistic if you're actually trying to achieve something big.
Right. You can't innovate or take necessary risks if you're terrified of failing. It's more about getting comfortable with failure as part of the process.
And he has advice on tackling the fear itself.
Yeah, he suggests really digging into it. Like, what specifically are you afraid of? Is it going broke? Is it what people will think?
Okay, so naming the fear.
Exactly. Once you identify it, you can start to address it. Maybe practically, like building a safety net. Or psychologically, challenging those worries about judgment.
Okay, so working smart, not being paralyzed by failure, but what actually drives the whole thing? What keeps you going? Simon talks a lot about purpose.
Yeah, purpose. He sees it as the absolute core, the fuel for the dream. It gives you the
Yeah.
why.
The motivation, the focus.
Right. Especially when things get tough. He uses the example of his company, Fluid. They had terrible staff turnover early on,
And the fix was.
redefining their purpose. They shifted to focusing on celebrating creativity and actually supporting creative people. And apparently that solved the turnover problem.
Wow. So connecting the work to a deeper meaning changed the whole dynamic.
It really did. It wasn't just about making money for brands anymore, but about valuing the people doing the creative work. It shows a dream isn't just a whim. It's usually rooted in your life, your experiences, what you really want or need.
And purpose acts like a compass, guiding you.
Exactly. And it provides the energy. Working hard without purpose feels draining, right? But working with purpose, that feels fulfilling. Even when it's hard work, it keeps you moving towards the dream.
He even says purpose can help beat procrastination and self-doubt.
Because it gives you that clear why. Why am I doing this tedious task? Because it serves the bigger purpose. Remember the story about him cleaning toilets?
Oh, yeah. To help land a big client for Fluid.
Right. Not glamorous, but the purpose getting that client made it worthwhile. It connects even mundane actions back to the dream.
And I found this idea of fascinating purpose, turning wants into needs.
Yeah, that makes the drive much stronger, doesn't it? Less optional.
It becomes almost intrinsic.
Exactly. If your dream comes from a deep personal need, maybe based on your own experiences, it's more like a compulsion. You have to do it.
And he contrasts that with, like, WeWork or Jewel,
Yeah.
where maybe the purpose got lost or diluted.
Yeah, where maybe massive funding or losing sight of the original why actually got in the way. That core need wasn't driving every decision, perhaps.
Okay, so purpose is key. You've got the dream, you're okay with failure, you have your why. But what about actually, starting? Taking those first steps can feel huge.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road. He tells the story of Sam, right? Had a dream for a catering business.
But couldn't start.
Yeah, just lacked the confidence, self-belief. And that's so common, isn't it? Often the biggest block is just ourselves, our own internal critic.
That voice saying, I can't, or it's too big. Simon argues that the how is often easier to figure out now, with all the info out there. It's finding the courage to just begin. That's the real hurdle.
And also dealing with any baggage you might have. Like Davide, the chef whose old financial problems came back to bite him.
Right. Unresolved stuff can hold you back.
Like an anchor. So dealing with underlying issues is critical. And he also mentions living within your means.
To free up mental space.
Exactly. Financial stress is a huge drain on energy and focus. So simplify where you can. Then break the dream down. Tiny steps.
Make it less overwhelming.
Yeah, small, actionable things so you feel like you're actually moving.
What about fear that comes from past failures, that bad fear, he calls it?
Right. He distinguishes that from good fear, which is just nerves that motivate you. Bad fear paralyzes you.
So how do you deal with that?
Reframe it. See those past failures not as proof you can't do it, but as lessons learned, experience gained. It makes you stronger, more resilient, ultimately.
He even takes a shot at the whole retirement dream idea, doesn't he?
Yeah, basically saying, why wait until you're older and maybe have less energy? Pursue your real dream now while you've got the fire for it.
It adds a sense of urgency. Don't put it off forever.
Because forever might mean never, right?
Okay, so you're ready. You've tackled the fear, got the purpose.
Yeah.
How do you get that very first believer, that first customer or supporter?
It can feel like a huge leap. He shares meeting someone randomly in a Tesco.
And just offered to be their first customer.
Yeah, just like that. It shows how powerful that initial bit of validation can be. For the person with the dream, that first yes is massive.
And he points out, even if it's a nonprofit idea, you still need customers, right? Donors, volunteers.
Absolutely. People who buy into your vision, your cause. And you need to really commit. Go all in. Half measures usually don't cut it.
And even nonprofits need a sustainable model, he says.
Right. You need resources to keep the dream alive. Doesn't have to be profit in the traditional sense, but you need fuel money, time, support, a way to sustain it.
And understanding who you're trying to reach, the customer, the supporter that seems critical, their needs, why they'd care.
It's fundamental. You can't succeed if you don't get who you're serving. Really understanding them makes everything else easier, more natural.
Now, what if you don't have a pile of cash to start? He talks about starting poor. What does that actually look like?
It means being smart and using what's available. There are so many free or cheap online tools now. Websites, social media, ways to connect.
So you don't need massive investment up front necessarily.
Not always. It's about being resourceful, pragmatic. He even mentions working for free initially sometimes, just to build trust for the long haul. That paid off later.
So be willing to ask questions, do your homework, maybe try things that aren't standard.
Definitely. Be open to unconventional ideas and realize your initial idea might need to change based on what you learn from those first interactions.
Adaptability again.
Always. Listen to your audience, your first supporters. They'll often guide you.
Okay, first supporter secured, model developing. How do you grow? Simon talks about growing rich, but it sounds like more than just money.
Oh, much more. It's about impact, fulfillment, as well as financial success. He tells that story about his first YouTube video, hardly any views.
But it massively impacted one person.
Exactly. So early success isn't always about big numbers. It can be about the depth of the impact, the value you create for even one person.
And that selling the sizzle idea. Using the Fortune magazine cover as an example.
Yeah, it's about communicating the aspiration, the credibility, the benefits, not just the basic facts, making it desirable.
He also really hammers home the power of simple word of mouth. Good service leading to recommendations.
It's still incredibly powerful, maybe more so now. Happy customers become your best marketers. And crucial point, don't get so focused on finding new customers that you forget your loyal ones. They're your base.
And this idea of earning the right to grow. Doing the groundwork first.
Laying that solid foundation, even if it means doing the unglamorous stuff at the start.
Like those twins cleaning really dirty places and posting it online.
Fantastic example. They embraced the messy reality of their business and used it cleverly for marketing. It shows you need to nail the basics, get cash flowing before you scale up wildly.
He also talks about diversifying, adding new things, partnerships.
Yeah.
But with a warning label attached.
Yeah, the Coaster Ads thing worked because it fit their core skills design, ads, the cafe. Not so much.
Different business entirely.
Totally. Became a distraction. So the lesson is diversify where it makes sense, where it leverages what you're already good at. Don't stray too far out of your lane just because an opportunity looks shiny.
And throughout all this, investing in your team seems paramount.
Absolutely crucial. Your people drive the growth. Treat them well, give them opportunities, create a good environment that builds loyalty.
And avoiding founder syndrome. Learning to let go a bit.
Yeah, that's tough for founders. But you have to delegate. Trust your team, empower them, especially as you grow. You can't do it all yourself.
He mentions partners too, the support, accountability, but choose carefully.
Very carefully. Good partners can be amazing. Bad ones, not so much. Make sure your values and vision align. His hiring rule applies here too. Does this person make life a little easier?
And being ethical, offering equity to keep good people.
All part of building a solid, sustainable thing. And finally, being honest about performance. Sometimes you have to make tough calls about team members if it's not working out.
For the good of the business and maybe even for them in the long run.
Exactly. It's difficult, but necessary sometimes.
Okay, moving beyond the immediate business community, he calls it a superpower. What does that mean?
It's more than just having customers. It's about building a group of people who are genuinely engaged, passionate, connected to your mission. Like with HelpBlank, the community is the mission, people helping each other.
So it's a two-way street. You foster it, but you don't completely control it.
Right. You have to respect the community, support it, let it have its own life to some extent. That's where the real power comes from.
Then there's risk, calculated risk. That story about the free ads on the London Underground is pretty bold.
Yeah, definitely got attention. It shows you sometimes need to do something unconventional, take a considered risk, just to get noticed.
Business involves constant risk assessment, doesn't it?
It really does. You're always weighing potential downsides against potential upsides. But he advises thinking through the worst-case scenario first, and then figuring out how to de-risk it, reduce the potential negative impact if you can.
Like Natasha and Adunye, risking their savings. They had to understand the potential reward, but also accept the potential loss.
Right. It's about understanding both sides and developing that risk muscle, he calls it. Getting better at assessing and taking smart risks is key to big achievements.
But sometimes taking a risk means standing your ground, right? Like the Hong Kong Rugby Sevens website story.
Yeah, that's about principle. Believing you're right and fighting for it even if it feels risky. But he's quick to contrast that with unhealthy risks, like cutting corners, being unethical. That's different. Integrity is key.
So it's a long journey. It won't always be smooth. Persistence seems vital. He uses Michelangelo creating David as an example.
Yeah, from that supposedly flawed piece of marble. It's a great metaphor. Extraordinary things often require just sticking with it, chipping away, even when it looks difficult or imperfect.
He mentions his own persistence with Fluid, contacting dream clients again and again.
And eventually landing them all. It's about staying on their radar, being relevant, building the relationship over time, not giving up after the first no.
And history's full of examples, right? Apple, NVIDIA, companies that nearly failed but kept going.
Exactly. Persistence often gets stronger through adversity. It's a survival skill, but also a growth skill.
But it's not just blind persistence, is it? It's also about knowing when to pivot.
Crucial distinction. True persistence includes adaptability. Knowing when the current path isn't working and you need to adjust, like bubble wrap, finding its true calling, or Fluid adapting during the SARS outbreak.
Changing strategy to survive and thrive.
Right. Contrast that with Blockbuster. They saw streaming coming, apparently, but didn't pivot decisively enough. Persistence without adaptation isn't always enough.
Okay, fast forward. You've built something amazing, poured your heart into it. But maybe it's time to move on. Divorcing your business, he calls it, sounds intense.
Deeply emotional, yeah. Letting go of something you've created is hard. It's like part of your identity.
So how do you know when it's time? And how do you do it?
He talks about recognizing the signs, maybe your passion is fading, and importantly, not letting others pressure you into leaving before you're ready.
And if you do decide to step back,
Maybe do it gradually. Do less rather than just vanishing. Find the right successor, someone who gets the vision. That was huge for him when selling Fluid.
finding the right person to carry it on.
Yeah. Or maybe a management buyout. Other options exist. But even after selling, he admits, you might have regrets. Or think about how you could have used that business for your next dream.
That entrepreneurial spark doesn't just vanish.
Often doesn't. So it's about thinking, what's next? How do you keep that spirit alive?
And that new beginning, it seems it can come from anywhere. Like that hotel desk conversation leading to a whole business.
Yeah, Accommodation Express, just a chance encounter. Shows you need to stay open, maybe travel, broaden your horizons.
And connect with people, real human connection.
Especially now, yeah. In our digital world, that real connection is powerful. And it all seems to come back to helping others, doesn't it?
That feels like a core message throughout.
Yeah, he really emphasizes the impact of supporting other people's dreams. He says it helps your own journey, too. His final challenge is basically help someone with their dream every single day.
Just a small act of support.
Exactly. He believes that giving without expecting something back immediately is a powerful way to move your own dreams forward, too.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it really boils down to a few key things, doesn't it? Taking that first step, however small.
Yeah, and changing how you see failure, it's learning, not an endpoint.
Finding that why, that purpose that really drives you.
Building something sustainable, even if it starts small.
And just keeping going, persisting, but being smart enough to pivot when needed.
And maybe the surprising one, the power of lifting others up along the way. It's practical business advice mixed with a lot about mindset, personal growth.
Overcoming those internal barriers that stop us even starting.
Exactly.
And as always, this deep dive is really for you listening. Hopefully these insights from Simon Squibb give you some tools, some inspiration for your own path.
Yeah, whatever your dream might be, which leads to maybe a final thought to leave you with. What's one small thing, one concrete action you could take today, like right now, towards your own dream?
Or perhaps who could you help? Is there someone whose dream you could support, even in a tiny way?
Just think about that first step. For yourself or for someone else, maybe make that call, send that email, offer that bit of encouragement, see what happens.